At a time when the Independent Qualification Commission has started removing prosecutors and judges from the system, the School of Magistrates, which prepares future judges and prosecutors, seem to be failing in its mission. EU Ambassador Romana Vlahutin calls on municipalities to collect their income and turn them into services. According to the diplomat, local performance is poor, with Albania ranking last in the region. After attending meetings in Estonia and Berlin, Chair of the Socialist Parliamentary Group, Taulant Bala, has declared periodic communication with member states of the utmost importance in progressing with negotiations. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Thursday, the 26th of April 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. On to our top story for tonight. Following the theme of the Supreme and Constitutional Courts, the delay in setting up the new justice institutions seems to now have also pushed the School of Magistrates to the point of collapse. The alarm has been rung by the school's director, so-called Sadushi, who says that this year the institution, which will supply the system with judges and prosecutors, risks not being able to open for the new academic year's first-year students. The 16 magistrates, prosecutors and judges set to graduate this year are also facing a problematic situation in that they risk being left without appointments to employment. The head of the magistrates says that on May 7, the school will conduct the vocational training exam for the 50 legal assistants that are currently at the High and Constitutional Courts. If they take a grade of 60% or more, they are given the opportunity to continue at the school for a further 2 years. Sadushi sees taking the initiative by lawmakers of adding an additional step to one of the transitional provisions as a solution. This would allow this school to follow the same process as it did in the 2017-2018 school year, where the acceptance of 25 candidates was determined. The Socialist Movement for Integration is ready to stand at the side of the government to lobby in sceptical countries for the support in the recommendation of opening negotiations. Vice Chair Luan Rama said that the political dialogue is part of the criteria for membership. He then went on to call the lobbying meetings for opening negotiations meaningless on the grounds that the Prime Minister, the Parliament Speaker and the other government officials have not been taking opposition representatives along with them. The Prime Minister guaranteed a comprehensive dialogue, exclaimed Luan Rama. Luan Rama once again referred to the article from the American magazine Mother Jones regarding the DP's lobbying contracts as fictitious and an attempt to take attention away from the problems that the country has. The article is a distraction to shift attention away from drugs and crime, added Luan Rama. The SMI deputy chair then went on to accuse the government of not being serious in the fight against the cultivation and trafficking of drugs. He says this is proven by the fact that they have not set up the National Committee to fight this phenomenon, which, according to him, is required by law and should have been set up a long time ago. EU Ambassador Romana Vlahutin expressed her very critical opinions regarding the performance of domestic local governments. According to her, the revenues collected by the local governments are only 14%, putting Albania in last position when compared to the region. The European diplomat called on municipalities to collect their income and turn it into services for citizens. The report of local revenues is only 14%, the lowest in the region. Local government revenues in Albania represent only 9% of GDP per capita, but the EU average is 25%. Municipalities must also be able to better collect their incomes and invest in services for citizens, said Romana Vlahutin. Vlahutin took the example of Kukus, Bulqiza and Mirdita, that even though they are rich in energy and mining resources, the municipalities still do not receive any financial benefits. As such, fiscal decentralisation is needed, which means that profits from natural resources will remain in the respective municipalities. Fiscal decentralisation is essential. At least 70% of energy at the national level is produced in Kukus, but the municipality still does not receive any financial benefit. Even in Bulqiza, only 5% of the income goes to the municipality from the mining industry. I have been in Mirdita, where the entire region could experience a business industry revolution with an amount of just 25 million euros, which could be invested in projects such as wine production, explained Romana Vlahutin. According to the ambassador, the next stage for Albania's approach to EU standards should be full cooperation between the federal and local government units. Democratic Party Chairman Lulzim Basha offered his sincere condolences to the Butsi family who recently lost their head of their household. The leader of the Democratic Party saw this event as not independent of crime, and according to him, the situation has recently been aggravated further. I am here to express my condolences to the Butsi family, to share with them a great pain which is not only theirs but also felt by all of Albania. The insecurity of Albanian families and of small businesses has taken on tremendous weight, where robberies with murders have become ordinary news, as was the case last night in Kamsa and in Fear a few weeks ago. This is evidence of the state's failure to provide public order, said Lulzim Basha. Basha also had a message for his political opponents. Our approach will be zero tolerance to crime, an iron fist punching the heart of crime. This must start with cleansing politics of crime, with the separation of criminal ties, starting with the Prime Minister, Interior Minister and police directors, before progressing down to each individual police officer, said Lulzim Basha. The opposition chair was accompanied by representatives of the municipality of Kamsa. After the meetings he held in Estonia and Berlin, the chairman of the Socialist Party's parliamentary group, Talon Bala, has stated that it is important to keep continuous communication with EU member states regarding the recommendation to open negotiations for Albania. Bala says the support of the parliaments within the EU countries will be decisive in this process. This process also passes through parliamentary consultations. Therefore, together with the Speaker of the Parliament, Ruchi, we attended the important summit of senior leaders from both the House of Representatives and the Senates of the European Union member states. The aim was precisely to intensify communication on the very important decision to be made by the European Council in setting a date for the start of negotiations between Albania and the European Union, said Talon Bala. According to the Socialist MP, many of the speakers of parliaments have praised the important steps that Albania has taken over the past 2 years in order to meet key priorities. I am very proud to say that among many speakers of parliaments we contacted, we note an overall positive assessment of the important steps that Albania has made over the last 2 years, mainly in meeting key priorities, said Talon Bala. The SP Parliamentary Group Chair Bala and Parliamentary Speaker Ruchi have intensified their attendance at meetings in recent days in the hopes of convincing member countries for a positive vote in recommending the European Commission to open negotiations with Albania. Minister of Infrastructure and Energy, Damian Jiknouri, arrived in Ljubljana for a meeting of the transport ministers from across the Western Balkans. Jiknouri presented the Albanian government projects regarding road safety as well as infrastructure development projects. Albania's case with neighbouring countries was considered a good model in this regard. I was given the opportunity to introduce the Albanian government's projects regarding road safety, but above all, infrastructure development projects as well. I also explained the financial support schemes through the private-public partnerships as one of the ways of improving infrastructure in the country, which was also mentioned by the Commissioner. Also, a fund from the European Union was discussed to address all black spots, referring to the most dangerous road spots of all the transport nodes which have been identified in Southeast Europe, said Damian Jiknouri. Turkey also joined the forum initiated by the European Transport Commissioner, Violeta Bulc, while present at the table were also representatives from EU member countries such as Italy, Croatia, Slovenia, Greece, Romania and Cyprus. Meanwhile, at the end of the meeting, the ministers agreed on 2 statements that focused on joint engagement in increasing road safety, as well as facilitating border crossings. Environment Minister Blendi Klosi has completed a balance sheet analysing the clean-up operation conducted across the territory. In a media statement, Klosi said 20,740 individuals and 905 vehicles were engaged in the Earth Week project, aimed at cleaning rivers and coastal segments as the tourist season approaches. Congratulating the success of the operation, Minister of Tourism and Environment Blendi Klosi assured that henceforth polluters will face their individual responsibility with the law. The work of all these people puts us even more at the forefront of responsibility. What was done in a week can be undone in just a day if we do not strengthen law enforcement and the measures taken against those who pollute the environment. The time of shared responsibility is over. Only the environment and the obligation to keep it clean are common. There will be a personal penalty for anyone who pollutes. So, after the end of Earth Week, law will be introduced to guarantee a cleaner Albania, declared Blendi Klosi. Minister Klausi said that a plan of measures that includes the district prefects is being prepared to rehabilitate landfills and reduce noise in tourist areas, and that the law will also include the punishment to be given upon violations being found. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.